Welcome to the Work Hard, Play Hard podcast. My name is Rob Murgatroyd, and I am a former doctor turned lifestyle entrepreneur. Each week, I interview some of the best minds on the planet on the science of achievement and the art of fulfillment. Today's episode is a mini-sode that we call Fri-Date with the Wife. In these mini-sodes, my wife Kim and I deconstruct the strategies that we've developed over the last decade to not only grow personally, but to turn our struggles into lessons and create fulfillment in all areas of our lives. Excuses are over. It's time to live. Let's dig into today's topic. All right, before we jump into this episode, I want to invite you to be considered for my Work Hard, Play Hard Mastermind by completing an application at workhardplayhardmastermind.com. So this mastermind is not like any mastermind you may have been to or heard of, I promise you. This mastermind is for 6 to 7 figure entrepreneurs that are working too damn much and aren't taking the time to have amazing experiences around the world with an incredible tribe of people. So every 100 days or so, I drop you into new experiences that are specifically designed to elevate your thinking, to give you new ideas. Look, you get your best ideas not staring at a computer. And actually, this is the way high-level people really collaborate with each other. They do it over a glass of champagne, watching the sunset in the south of France. So if you are ready to do some fun stuff around the world and really, really want to level up your tribe in one shot, fill out an application at workhardplayhardmastermind.com. We'll jump on a call and we'll see if it's a good fit. All right, let's jump into today's episode. Well, Kimberly, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. How was your night last night?
It screwed my whoop up.
Screwed your whoop up. What do you mean exactly by screwed your whoop up?
So we have been not drinking as much, not nearly as much.
Hi, my name is Kimberly. Go ahead.
No. I mean, look, we spent a long time in Italy drinking wine for lunch and dinner. And then we came to the US and we killed the lunch wine for the most part, but the dinner wine stuck around. So like daily wine for 2 years, let's call it, plus pandemic wine and charcuterie boards. You know, it got a little excessive. So in January, we just decided to go to a bit more non-alcoholic mocktails at night from Curious Elixirs. And then, you know, here and there had a bottle of wine on the weekends. But what I've noticed is because we wear the Whoop like tracker, biometric tracker, I guess that's what you call it.
Yep.
What we've noticed is that when we kill the wine, and we go to mocktails, our Whoop is happier with us. Our HRV doesn't plummet. Our resting heart rate, you know, stays decent. But there's still a lot of up and down in our recovery, right? So the Whoop basically is like telling us how recovered we are. Based on drinking, food, hard workouts, and all of that, it'll vary up and down. So we just noticed that by pulling out the alcohol, it really made a significant impact on the biometric data we were looking at, right?
Yeah.
Did everybody just fall asleep?
No, I think, you know, if you don't have a Whoop, I would recommend that you get one. And here's why. It doesn't have to be Whoop. It could be Fitbit or something else.
Yeah, but let me say, I had the Oura Ring and for like a minute and it was horrible. First of all, it's uncomfortable. It's a ring. It's ugly. It's fat. Like it's not.
So you liked it. You wrote a good Amazon review for it.
I sent that shit back. And I didn't find the data to be as on point as the Whoop, honestly. I like the app more on the Whoop.
So if you're, you know, whether you are tracking your data or not tracking your data, I would strongly recommend that you get something to track the data. And here's why. Because what Whoop is going to do, and this wasn't intended to be a Whoop thing, but I think it's going to
No, we're actually going to be talking about meditation.
And I think it's going to tie nicely into what we want to talk about today, which is Kim's new entree into the world of transcendental meditation. But first, let me say this. When you're looking at your whoop in the morning, you basically get three indications. It's either like green, yellow, or red in terms of your recovery. And lots of things that you do in your life are going to affect that recovery. So if you go and train your ass off doing a bunch of cardio, the next day your recovery is not going to be great. But it makes sense, right? Because you had a lot of inflammation as a result of the extensive cardio, et cetera. So, but other times you didn't do any cardio, but you did some Chianti, and you wake up the next morning and it's just as bad. So it's on you to decipher what it is that's blowing out your numbers the next day. And so we're always looking for different pieces of that puzzle, different ways that we can improve, quite frankly, not only our health, but how we feel. I mean, let's be honest. If you're not 22, you can't be doing, vodka shots all night, get 3 hours.
And wake up at 8 a.m. and go to math class.
You can't do it anymore. And so you hit a point where you have to just become more efficient at this balance. And by balance, I mean like balance. Like you can't say, unless you have a problem, you can't say, I'm never, ever, ever, ever going to go out and have a romantic dinner, a bottle of wine, and, just blow off some steam. But at the same time, you don't want to feel like shit the next day either. So it's this balance between figuring all of that out, which leads us into what we're going to talk about today, which is one of those ways is transcendental meditation. So Kim, take it from here.
Yeah. So just on that note of the balance, though, there's an element, I see a lot of people and they're like, I don't touch alcohol, I don't eat any sugar, I don't do da-da-da-da-da-da, because I want to have like my body at its prime. Okay, if you're Tom Brady, I get it. But if you're someone who is like us and you want to live a fulfilling life that of things you enjoy, but also be really healthy, there's a give and take. So we, like last night, the reason our whoops just plummeted today is we haven't drank in a week, and we went last night and we went to a restaurant, which is new for us here in sunny Southern California. We're allowed to do that now. We went to a restaurant outdoors.
By the way, we're actually considering that we're allowed to do that. Somebody was asking me, like I was talking to a friend, Brandon, yesterday. He said, "Oh, you guys can go into restaurants now?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, inside?" I was like, "Oh, no, not inside.
No.
Don't get crazy.
Don't get crazy.
No, not inside. No. We have to stay outside."
Yeah, we're like the dog. The dog has to stay outside. So we went to the restaurant. Italian restaurant, great little spot, and ordered a bottle of wine. And we were done our dinner, but we were still in this great conversation. And so Rob asked for one more glass and we'd split it. So we each had 2.5 glasses, let's call it. And I knew when you ordered that third glass that it wasn't going to work out.
You know that moment where you had the second glass and it's like you're just beginning to get the buzz and you're feeling good, but you're clearly not drunk or anything. But you have that second one because you did 1 and 2 pretty quickly, and so it hasn't really hit you. And you're like, you know what, let's do another. And then all of a sudden, an hour later, the culmination of the 2.5 glasses hit you, and then the morning you get hit over the head with a frying pan.
Right. So I woke up this morning, not even out of bed, screenshotted the 23% on my Whoop and sent it to Rob.
Yeah, 100% is what you're looking for.
Yeah. So basically, I shouldn't lift a pencil today.
If you look at those numbers and you see it has 23%, I could wake up in the morning and I could tell you based on how I feel what my recovery is. Okay.
So now let me take this to meditation. So here's what I noticed. Okay. I'm pulling up my Whoop right now. When I've been using the Whoop I've been back to the Whoop now for, 6 months. And every day, my resting heart rate and my HRV, they go up, they go down, they go up, they go down, like we've talked about. Then I started Transcendental Meditation. So this is, we're recording this Saturday morning. I went to my first class on Monday. So I didn't really understand what TM was, Transcendental Meditation. Rob had taken a class. It's a 4-day course, I should say. The first day is in person, and right now, because of COVID, the other 3 days are a Zoom meeting, which is pretty simple. And I didn't really understand why he was going and taking this course. I didn't really get what was different about it. I've only been meditating for the last year, and I've done, let's call it past, oh God, I'm having deja vu right now. Yeah, I feel like I've had this conversation before. I've done the woo-woo ones with Gabby Bernstein. I've done the easy ones where it's like journaling and you're asking the higher power for guidance and all of that. I've done the really woo-woo ones with Brian Weiss where it's like you're trying to go back into past lives. I've done the Calm app. So I've done Kundalini meditations. Over the last year, I've done mostly, let's say, the woo-woo world of meditation. But usually I'm walking in with an intention to connect to source, guides, get guidance, figure something out. Like I'm coming with an intention. So when I went to this TM course on Monday and I sat with Denny, who was my instructor, he showed me that TM is actually very scientifically based. And it's not a spiritual woo-woo thing. In fact, it's not spiritual at all. And so it took me a minute to wrap my brain around it because all I've really known out of meditation is that more spiritual connection portion and not the physiology or the science that's behind it and the physiology that's impacted by TM. And so we kind of chatted about that for a little bit. And I was like, oh, okay. And he's showing me, because I love science, he has an entire area of the TM Center dedicated to all the medical journals with peer-reviewed studies and like on and on. And I was like, okay, so this is interesting. So I go in and I do my course. And then on the way home, I started listening to a book from Bob Roth. And he starts the book with like, I'm not spiritual. This isn't a religion. I wear a suit. I work with high-level executives, and here's why. And he starts breaking down the science behind TM and what it's actually doing in your mind. And so basically what I learned, and I'm going to give you a really general overview here because you can read the book or take the course, but the general overview is you have a lot of thoughts, emotions, chatter, and things rolling around your brain for the last however many years you are old. That's how many built up thoughts, emotions, and junk is in there. And the practice of TM is designed, and it's been around for over 5,000 years. It's one of the oldest forms of meditation. It came from India, I believe. And Bob talked about how basically the transcending portion is you're trying to transcend thought. And so when you sit down, the thing that I used to say before I started these other kind of guided meditations was, my brain talks too much. I can't do it. I suck at this and there's too much chatter. And that's because I thought the point of meditation was to sit down and focus on having a clear mind. What TM teaches you is you actually welcome the thoughts because the thoughts mean that stress is being released from your body. Every thought is okay. Thoughts are okay there. You're not actually trying to focus on anything. You want it to be effortless. And so they have a very specific protocol that you go through, but it's not a focus on anything. There's no asking the universe there's no asking anything. There's no focusing on anything. You're just there. And it's an effortless form of meditation. But as the thoughts come in, they're coming in, they're going out, they're coming in, they're going out. So that stress is releasing. Once all the thoughts are gone, then your mind begins this transcendence into its, I don't know what to call it, Rob, like to dive deep into your soul or whatever you want to call it, but back home, okay? So you're transcending, that is the transcendence. You're transcending past thought.
All right, so let's stay on that a second because it is that.
And keep in mind, I'm very new to this.
It is that moment that you tripped up on right there that is the magic of what this type of meditation is.
Because it's hard to describe.
Right.
You can't put that into words.
Right. So you're hitting a point where you have, this is what they call a mantra-based meditation, where you're saying a mantra.
But it's not it's not like I am love. Like it's not like that.
It's not an affirmation.
And you're given it by your mentor.
Yeah, the word mantra means mind vehicle, and it's simply just a vehicle for your minds so that you can focus on something.
But you're not supposed to focus.
You're supposed to favor it. So it's that dance of like, only thinking of the mantra and not thinking of the mantra. So you're favoring the mantra. But I don't want to get in the weeds of that. The point is that the mantra is a tool that you're using in order to reach that state that Kim was talking about. And until you've reached that state where, it could be for 19 and a half of the 20 minutes, you are
releasing stress.
Chatty Cathy in your head, and you've got this mantra going on, and you've got the thoughts going on, and you're going back and forth with it. But for 30 seconds, something happens where you go through this thing that they refer to as an inward stroke, and you just sort of go in, and there's not a mantra, and there's not thoughts, and I don't know where the fuck you are, but you are somewhere, and you're there, and you really like it.
You're in the zone.
When you
hear the movie Soul, you're literally in what they refer to as the zone.
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
When you hear people talk about, like I died and I didn't want to come back and I went to the light. It's a little, I've never had that experience, but it seems to me like it's a little bit of that. It's where you don't feel your body. You don't have thought. You are feeling what you're in. There's no more mantra, and you're somewhere different. I don't know where it is. And I'll tell you when you really know that you're there. Sometimes you trick yourself and you're like, am I really here? Is my mind playing tricks on me? If you ever get disturbed while you're there, you feel like somebody hit you over the head with a baseball bat.
When you're awoken out of a deep sleep, and it's that startling, nauseous, like you just got woken up in the deepest of sleep. It's worse than that.
You don't know where you are. And so the point for me, and I don't want to steal your thunder here, but the point for me at the end of this is it's not so much what we're referring to as what's happening in the meditation. It's the hours that precede.
Yeah. So that's...
Is precede the one after? Or that precede is before, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
What's it, post-seed?
Post-seed.
What the hell is what if
after?
If precede is before something, what's after? Post-seed?
Post-seed.
Okay. So
that's what she said.
So proceeding your meditation is really about how you feel. This is going to fucking bother me now.
Okay. So I want to give my experience here because I don't know that we're doing a very good job.
I think we are.
Okay. So here's my experience and why we started this with the Whoop. When I started TM on Monday, I went to the TM center. I did TM with him. I learned it. I went home that night and I did a 20-minute meditation.
Now, what goes on with the TM Center? Is it like girls with hairy armpits? Is it an orgy? Is it big shag rugs?
It's a big shag rug and an orgy.
Are you guys doing LSD?
We are.
You're doing coke?
All day long.
Tie-dye shirts, long beards.
They actually ask
flowers. What happens in these centers?
They actually ask you to not do any hallucinogenic or other drugs for 2 weeks before you do your TM.
Oh, that's why you stopped. Okay, go ahead.
Stop it, Robert Victor Anthony. So you go to the TM. So I went on Monday. I met Denny. We chatted about why I wanted to do TM, what I was looking for, what my history with meditation was. We went in to a little private space. He did a beautiful ceremony ritual and then gave me my mantra and then taught me the process.
What is your mantra?
You're not allowed to tell, and I'm not going to say.
Why? Well, we
don't discuss that here.
I thought we share everything.
Except our mantra.
Okay.
So I got that, learned it. And then he told me the process of TM is to do 20 minutes if you can before breakfast and 20 minutes before dinner. And so you're doing 20 minutes meditation twice a day. Following the 20 minutes, you do 2 to 3 minutes of kind of waking up your body where you're not favoring the mantra. You allow it to go. You can think about your shopping list or whatever, but you keep your eyes closed to kind of avoid that woozy feeling Rob was referring to. So I went, did my thing with him, went home, did my 20 minutes. And I will tell you, I had headaches, which I don't usually get. I had pressure in the front of my head, like on my forehead, during like the first 5 to 8 minutes of each meditation for the first few days. I felt tired. I felt like I was detoxing. And so the first day I went, did my thing, did my one at night. The next day I did it in the morning, did it at night, and then we had a Zoom call. And the Zoom call for TM is anybody who's recently taken the course. You do 3 nights of Zoom calls and he answers questions. So I asked him, I'm like, why am I having headaches? I don't have headaches. He said, different things will present themselves. So as your body is deep diving and releasing this stress that's been built up over the last 42 years of my life, those things can come out in a detox fashion, like headaches or body twitches or any of those things. And so for the first couple of days, the reason they check in with you is because they want to be able to guide you through some of these detox symptoms and answer these questions that you have. And what I found is in the morning, my brain was incredibly chatty. It was, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this, I got to do that. And then I would come out of the meditation and I would go and do mommy school with Sophia, and I'd find that I was a little more patient and a little less like feeling rushed and feeling overwhelmed. And then I would go do the afternoon meditation and I would have less chatter and I would have more transcendent time of no thought, no mantra. And then the headaches went away and then I felt lighter. And so I'm having this 4-day progress using this specific type of meditation that was blowing my mind. Then on day 3, I looked at my Whoop and I looked at my resting heart rate. My resting heart rate since the day I started on Monday has been, let's see, it says your average resting heart rate during this 7-day period is below its normal. So I dropped to a lower resting heart rate by, I'd say, 5 to 8 points, but then it was stable. It didn't go up and down and up and down and up and down. It literally stayed stable for the 4 days I did TM. That is to me the physiological proof of what TM is doing and how the stress is releasing. Because with all of that built up stress in there, it's kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back. When you pile on stress over 40 years and these emotions and just all of this stuff that's inside, when you pile all that up and then, someone says something so simple and it was like, why did you get that mad at something so simple? But it's the straw that broke the camel's back. You haven't released all that other shit. And so even though the cap off the toothpaste is not a big deal, in that moment, it was the titration point of stress. And so I think releasing all of this old shit for the last 4 days has like literally dropped my heart rate. It's improved my HRV. My HRV skyrocketed like out of nowhere and stayed high until Rob brought me out drinking last night.
I want to touch on something. When you are doing your meditation and thoughts are coming in.
Yes.
Explain to me what the thoughts are relative to stress.
It doesn't matter what the thought is because the thought is not directly corresponding to that stress. So if I'm thinking I have to walk the dog, it's not like I have walk the dog stress built up. It's just the release of stress in your body comes out in different thoughts. And so that is a signal that your body is releasing stress.
Hold on. So you have stress in your body. When you're meditating, thoughts are arising.
Yep.
The thoughts are not specifically tied to the stress that's in the thoughts aren't, the context of the thought is not related to the stress exactly per se.
I don't think so. I think so. The way I'm picturing it is in my gut, I have all these bubbles of stress that have built up over the years.
Mm-hmm.
As I do the TM and go through the process, those bubbles float up to my brain and they come into thought and then they pop out of my brain and that stress is released. And then the next one and the next one and the next one.
So thoughts are the release of stress, yes. but it's just the way that the body releases stress.
Yeah. So I'm in this, and same with pain. So I was getting like the forehead pain and headaches. And so all of this is being released in different ways. So for me, the hardest thing that I had to learn with this was, a few of them. So this is where it differs. Before I came into meditation with an intention, like Gabby Bernstein would say, and by the way, there's no wrong or right. This is just a different type of meditation with a different purpose. So I will continue to do multiple kinds of meditation. This is just a different one. So in the Gabby meditations, she's, the guidance is, please, angels of the highest truth and compassion, help me, da, 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 da. So like you're coming with an intention. Or I was personally coming in like Kundalini meditations to come to manifest or to come, like I was coming for answers or to ask questions or whatever. I was coming for a purpose. What I had to learn with TM is my intention is to allow whatever is to happen and make it effortless. There is no trying in TM. You have to just allow and allow and allow and allow. Allow the thoughts. I had to come to the, realization that thoughts are okay. Because in my previous meditations, thoughts would disrupt me. But here I had to allow the thought to come and not disrupt me and not get frustrated. The other thing is judging your meditation. Before when I was doing these like more spiritual meditations, I kind of was getting addicted to this, like if I was in the zone in those meditations, this feeling of love and warmth and connection with whatever source, I don't know, whatever's on the other side. And I was loving that. And so I was judging meditations. If I went down and I was too chatty in my brain one day, I didn't get to that connection and I would judge it. And so what I learned with TM is that my job is not to judge. That's why when I come up from a meditation and you're like, how was it? My job is not to judge the meditation. And so some I'm going to be chattier and now I look. And so when my brain is super chatty, I'm like, I have a lot of stress to release. Thank God I'm doing it.
What a great reframe.
And thank God I'm doing this to release this stress. Even if I don't get to that transcendent point, it's okay because I will, because this stress has to release from my body.
Well, let me tell you what the good news is for you. The good news is that because you're married to me, you're always going to be transcending just by being around me. I am your muse in many ways, and your ability to, I was put here to help you evolve, which I don't really want to go into right now because there's some things that you need to work on.
Can I say something on that real quick?
Yeah.
You are put here to help me evolve because
thanks.
Many years ago, our joke is Rob asked me if I wanted to read it, or someone asked me if I had read A New Earth. I think it was Tony. And I told her my Earth is fine. And Eckhart Tolle's book. And I just wasn't interested in any of that. And you are put here for that because you will jump into anything. Some things I'll follow you and some things I won't. But something like this, like you did your TM course and you were so passionate about it. And you did such a bad job of explaining it to me.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That I wasn't really that interested in it. And now I see why you're doing a bad job of explaining it, because it's something you can't actually explain. And you have to, it's not possible to really explain it in a great way. So my thought would be, go read Bob Roth's book on stillness. What's it called? Stillness. Something with stillness.
We'll link it up. Bob Roth's stillness book.
Yeah. So, but you do lead me, and you are here to help me evolve, because I would have went and taken this course if it wasn't for you, and giving me the time to do 2 meditations a day, and cover me with the munchkin and make sure I'm not disturbed. All of those things is so helpful, because I think you want the best for me, obviously, but I also think you want me to calm the F down and not be so stressed out. So I think I think you have an ulterior motive there.
Well, listen, I mean, I want to live to 130 years old. I don't want to do that by myself. So having you, stressed, not that you had a big stress problem. I'm just saying that,
I had a big stress problem.
No, you weren't.
But was I different this week than previous weeks in your mind? What do you see as the difference in me? Because my TM course asked me if other people saw a difference in me, and I said I didn't know.
Here's the benefit with TM. It's not one of these things like when I got on testosterone, the guy's like, get a shot in your ass every month, take these get 2 shots in 1 pill every month for 3 months and you'll notice nothing until 3 months. I'm like, that's a lot of fucking work for nothing. TM is not like that. TM is like, it's instant. You do it 20 minutes. If you take the course, do the training, and then do the 20 minutes, at the end of 20 minutes, you'll go, wow.
Can you give a little Jerry Seinfeld on this one?
There's really not much to give here. Jerry Seinfeld, you actually filled in some of the gaps here. But what turned me on to TM, it's one of these things where, I had seen Howard Stern interviewed, and he's like, I do TM twice a day. And then I heard Jerry Seinfeld on Howard Stern, and they were talking about TM, and they were both saying there's no way that we would have ever been able to achieve the success and all of the mental shit that comes with creating the Howard Stern show and Seinfeld show, et cetera. And then they started talking about Ellen DeGeneres, and she's the same thing. She's like, well, I could never have gone through what I've gone through without it. And I'm like, I'm starting to hear, not only, the Elon Musks of the world, but the Seinfelds and the celebrities and the artists. And all you have to do is go on YouTube and type in, and understand I'm not looking for like Paris Hilton or Lindsay Lohan, but like go in and type celebrity TM and look at the breadth of the people that take TM that are Tom Hanks so Tom Hanks is at backstage at the Oscars, and he bumps into Tom Hanks tells this story on YouTube. You can find it. He bumps into Jerry Seinfeld, and Jerry's like, "How you doing?" And he's like, "I'm doing good. I'm tired. I need a break. They wanted me to do this new movie. I can't. I can't." And then Tom Hanks does Jerry Seinfeld, and he goes, "You got to do TM. Why are you not doing TM?" And he's like, "Doing what? What are you talking about? TM. How could you not?" And he goes into this whole thing. And so listening to Tom Hanks talk about Jerry Seinfeld telling him to do TM, he said, I'm going to send a guy. So he sends Bob Roth, the guy that you're just referring, over to Tom Hanks's house. And Bob Roth is sort of the go-to guy to teach.
He did not design TM. He did not create it.
No.
But
TM is 5,000 years old. That came over from Maharishi in the 50s from India and was made famous when the Beatles were taught.
The Beatles were taught TM.
Beatles were taught by them. And then when the Beatles came over to America, they brought the Maharishi, and everybody did everything the Beatles did.
And then Bob Roth did it, and now he's like the go-to guy on it.
Yeah, but he's like a meditator in the suit. You know what I mean? Like he's not.
That's what was fascinating to me. And so on the Jerry Seinfeld, though, in Bob Roth's book, he talks about Jerry, and Jerry's been doing TM since he was 18. He learned TM at 18, and he started doing it. And again, before breakfast, before dinner, you're supposed to do it. And he didn't see the point of waking up in the morning and doing it, because he was like, why do I need rest? It puts your body, this is the thing about TM. TM gives your body what it needs. TM gives your body the rest. It allows the stress to release. Like, why do we rest? We rest to allow our body to repair itself and to heal itself. So when you do TM, you're resting the mind and you're allowing it to repair itself and heal itself through stress release and all of those things. Mm-hmm. So he didn't see the point of waking up and doing it. He didn't really understand. He was 18. So he only did TM one time a day in the afternoon. And he did it one time a day through the peak of Seinfeld. And he credits TM to allowing him to have the energy to get through it. So he said when the crew would break for lunch, he would go do TM.
And he was only doing it once a day back then?
He was only doing it once a day. And then but he credits that one time a day with the success of Seinfeld, because he said, I would have never been able to write, produce, and act in the most successful series on television at the time without it, because he wasn't just showing up as an actor. He was a producer. He was a writer. He was doing everything. And he credits TM for that.
I write a blog post, I got a headache for 3 days.
Right.
Can you imagine writing a Seinfeld episode?
And then all the other things. So he was doing it once a day. Then he was doing a benefit to try to raise money to teach kids how to do TM, underprivileged kids and all of this stuff. And he met Bob Roth backstage and they became besties, and Jerry hired Bob to come to his house and teach his family how to do TM. And so they were in the kitchen one day and Bob was like, okay, so you're going to do this twice a day, in the morning before breakfast and then before dinner. And Jerry's like, whoa. What's this morning one? When did that happen? And he's like, it's always been that way. And Jerry was like, oh my God. And as he thought about it, he was like, I've been screwing it up.
I've been 50% as effective.
50% as effective since I was 18. And so he plugged the second one in. But it's a fun, obviously Jerry's funnier selling a story. But
so here's what, if this has at all piqued your interest, I would strongly recommend, we have no affiliation to either. I would strongly recommend getting a Whoop because I think the data tracking of this would be fun. And I think it would be very, very useful for you. So WHOOP. And I learned that the song Whoop, There It Is not WHOOP. It's WHOOMP. It's Whoop, There It Is.
There it is.
So this is a different spelling of Whoop. And
because people were very confused about that.
I just felt like I needed to share. And then the other part of it is
look up TM.
Look up TM. But I would go on YouTube and type in David Lynch Foundation, because David Lynch, he's if you don't know who he is, he's the guy who created Twin Peaks and Mulholland Drive and lots of really great movies. And he has put out a lot of content on it, but the people who are in the David Lynch Foundation are people like Tom Hanks and Jerry Seinfeld and Howard Stern. And you can hear from, whichever one of those people that you admire their work, you can hear their thoughts on it. And maybe that can help sell you. Now, I'll leave you with this.
Help sell you. Hold on. But know this with TM, when you go and you find a TM center, if you're in LA area, reach out to us privately and we'll give you our contact. But the way this works is you go and you pay one fee, and they have a sliding scale based on your income. You pay one fee and you get TM for life. So you have like nonstop access to your TM trainer.
Around the world.
You have nonstop access to your TM trainer. And then you can go to any TM center in the world and get a tune-up for free. You just have to know a few pieces of information. And that's it. Like, it's literally a one-time fee that you get for the rest of your life. And I will tell you, I'm only like 5 days in, 6 days in, but it's probably the most impactful thing
it is
that I've done for my mental health, and also as I'm starting to see my physical health. So I don't, preach this kind of stuff that often, but this to me is huge. So huge that I asked about a kids program, and they do have one for kids that are, I think it's 4 to 10. It's a different type of program for them. But once they turn 10, then they go into the adult program. And I asked Sophia, and as soon as she is ready for it, like, she's doing it. My goal is to get her in that program before she, is 18. Because if she can have this tool now to calm her body and to allow that release and reset for the mind, I mean, I can't give her a better gift.
Now, I'll leave you with this. I have put off doing TM. I've been very, very aware of doing TM for the better part of probably 15 years. And I have not done TM for those 15 years. And the reason why I haven't done it is because the buy-in for me was too much. I felt like it was too much money to do the training. I felt that there were too many days to do the training. And what I learned is two things. One is the money is not that much. And like Kim said, it's based on income. And number two, yes, it's 4 days, but it's 4 days of an hour a day. So it's not like, I don't know why, nobody explained it to me.
Because the other 3 days were in person.
They were in
if
person.
You had to drive back to Santa Monica for 4 days, it would have been a different thing for you.
It would have, but it still wouldn't have bothered me because it's only an hour. I thought it was like 9 to 5. And I'm like, I can't give up 4 days, 9 to 5 to learn to meditate.
But on the cost, what I didn't I think what people look at and what we looked at was, why would we pay X amount of dollars for a meditation course when I can use the Calm app?
Right.
Or when I can use,
question.
or when I can just, close my eyes and pay $12 for 18 meditations from Gabby Bernstein. Like, it's actually $11.11. She does 11:11.
She's smart.
She's smart. But, that's, I think, the thing. But the point that we're trying to drive home is that this is so different. Like, I can think of 50 people right now that need this.
Don't you want to walk around going, you need TM, dude?
Yes.
This is where you become like,
I'm literally looking at...
When you quit smoking or drinking, you want to walk around and tell everybody, you need to stop watching.
You need to put that down.
If you're watching porn, you need to stop.
I'm literally looking at the wall behind you of all of these entrepreneurs you take with you, and I'm like, yeah, that one needs some TM. Like, this one needs some TM.
All right, so let's wrap this
Everybody needs TM.
Everybody needs TM. You get TM. You get TM. So if you're still here, and you
didn't fall asleep yet,
well, this episode is clearly targeted to stimulate people to consider doing TM. So we did our job here. If you are in a place in your life where you know that you are made for more, and you're like, I know that there's more that I could be doing in my life, and you like this show, then you may like our free Dream Life course, which is about to go live probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So text us the word Dream Life. Text the word Dream Life to 310-388-9724. That's text Dream Life 310-388-9724, and we will put that into the show notes as well. All right, that's it, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Namaste.
You're so weird.
All right, thanks for listening. If you love this episode and you know someone that needs some help in either stepping up their work hard game or their play hard game, it would mean the world to me if you shared this podcast with them to help me get this movement out there. So if you like what you heard, head on over to iTunes, take 30 seconds, and leave me a 5-star review, and I will be forever grateful. So until the next episode, excuses are over. It's time to live.